Hey guys, this is part one of my living room tour. I'm sorry it's been late. Uh, there's definitely gonna be a part two. My phone is it's an older phone and I only have enough space to do one 15-minute video at a time and then upload it and clear it off. I know I'm low tech. Anyway, part one. Hi Silk. Whoa. Okay. So this is Silk. You guys know Silk. She is blind, but as you can see, she's learned the parameters of her cage well enough that she knows when the door is open. She knows to hop up onto here. I got Silk. Wow. Yep, that was a motorcycle. I got Silk last summer. When Velvet died. Velvet was a PMV Pidge that I nursed back to health, and I made the mistake of giving her seeds when she seemed fully recovered. And I think that Velvet had a seed get caught in a trachea, and she slowly, well, not slowly, but gradually choked to death. I didn't even realize what was happening right away. So I called my friend who also does rescue. I was heartbroken and probably acting the most selfish I've ever acted, but I had a racer, a lost racer that I was caring for early last year, and I'd gotten him healthier, and I gave him over to my friend because my friend has a lot more space than I do. And it had been a long time, and I figured he probably had his own life by now, had mates, but just in case, he used to sit in my lap and let me pet him just like Velvet did. Velvet was really precious, and I was heartbroken, and I just called my friend crying, and I was like, can I please readopt the racer? His name is Biggs now. And she goes, he does have his own life. He's kind of settled in here, but tell you what, I know that you love special needs pigeons, and I have this blind girl, and I think you two would be perfect for each other. So that was Silk, and I went over and I met Silk, and she was very sweet, despite how she's acting right now. And first I tried to get her to see if she could be friends with Odin, the other blind pidge I have, as you guys have seen. That didn't work out. They did not like each other. And eventually I noticed Silk acting like this, and one of you guys pointed out that this seemed like courtship behavior. Maybe Silk likes you, so I never noticed that. So I brought her out and I started seeing if she would accept pets from me, and well, you've seen my videos lately. She considers me her mate, and yeah, I named her Silk in honor of Velvet, and she's one of my greatest joys. So I'm gonna close this for now, just so she doesn't hop out while I'm filming the rest. This is Rayla. Usually I put Rayla over by my budgies, but for now I wanted to introduce you guys to her on her own. She is a little sparrow who was found with a busted wing by a friend of my wife's, and well, the wing had been busted for a while, and 3/4 of it had gone necrotic, so we it was dead. I mean, it didn't even require like surgery, but we had a professional get the rest of the dead parts of her wing off. So she can't survive in the wild, obviously. She can't fly fully. She can kind of flap up with her 1 1/4 wings. The globe, watch this. If I open this up, she'll probably try to go in there. Here, watch out, baby. You gonna go in your globe? No? Okay. Well, maybe not. That used to belong to a a society finch that we took care of back in 2019. Her name was Amaya. She's named for a character from the Dragon Prince. That was Maya's favorite little thing. And finches usually only live about 5 or 6 years. When we got her, she was an old gal. We had her for a year, and then she passed at the age of I think 6. And we just kept this on our memorial shelf for a while. And then we got Rayla last year. We also named Rayla for a character from the Dragon Prince. And I thought, you know what? This would be perfect for Rayla. And I think Maya would be happy that her favorite little bed is helping another little bird like her. It's okay, baby. So then over here is Kiwi. You guys know Kiwi. I have her out for now because I'm home. But when I'm not around, she lives in this. I put her basket in this. Her basket, yeah. I've had her for about 2 years. Found her in 2023. She was nestled on the ground like she was just sitting in a nest, not moving, and lifted her up, and her legs from the knees down were just mangled. I have no idea what happened to her. I'm sorry about the background noise, guys. I knew this is going to be one of the harder ones for me to record. I hope you can hear me okay. Yeah, Kiwi's happy. So from the knees down, her legs were mangled, and they were pretty necrotic. So no circulation. That is what that means. Everything was dying off, and that would have started to spread upwards. So we had a professional take off the dead stuff, and she has most of her thigh bones left. Yes, that's Hamlet down there that Kiwi's looking at. He's just following Daddy. So I keep her in this support basket. I use a lot of really fluffy socks and things to kind of cushion her. Otherwise, she could get bed sores and things like that. She's very sweet. She doesn't let a lot of other birds into her personal space without getting upset. But she lets me pet her. Yeah, she's a good girl. So above Silk, we have Crumpet. Now, some of you who have been following my channel for a while, and I say a while, I've only been posting his videos for like a couple of years. Crumpet, if you look up my channel name and baby doves after breakfast, you'll see Crumpet when she's very, very young. I got Crumpet in, gosh, I want to say early 2023. She was a little baby who had maybe a week old, maybe 2 weeks old. I think she'd fallen from her nest. She had a little bit of a concussion, and to this day her flying is, I think she has trouble seeing out of one of her eyes. She can fly okay, but she takes off like straight up and at an angle like a helicopter. She can't really zip across the room, so she was never releasable. But within the same week that I got her, I got another baby dove called Latte and his brother. Latte and his brother were both collared doves, and I think they're like a tree that their nest was in had been cut down, and I think the brother had internal injuries because they both seemed okay at first, but the brother started kind of fading, and it seemed similar to a bird with internal injuries. I'd seen that happen before, so I kind of recognized it. They were both young enough that neither of them had opened their eyes yet. I mean, they were just under a week old. So when Latte's brother died, Crumpet here was okay being close to Latte, and Latte had not opened his eyes, so I put him next to Crumpet, and they became, little nestmates. And when his eyes finally opened, first thing he saw was Crumpy here, and he grew up thinking he was a Moto. I say that because she was very kind to him, and she was the bird, to him, that was his nestmate, that was his sibling, so he must be one too. When they both grew up, I couldn't release her, but Latte was semi-releasable, so I gave him to my friend who gave me Silk, and who has the Lost Racer. She has a collared dove flock and a Moto flock who both live around her house, and they sleep kind of in her enclosed porch area, and then during the day they fly around the block. Anyway, when Latte went to join them as an adult, the collared dove flock went to invite him in, and he completely ignored them, and he went right to the Moto flock. He recognized them as one of him because they looked just like his sister Crumpet, and so they must be his kind, right? And so he joined them, and they accepted him without issue. And I think I've posted some pictures, but from what I've been told, he's helped them raise some of their babies. Anyway, that's all thanks to this one here. She was so kind. She took him in as her brother and was really good to him, to the point that he thinks he's a mourning dove. And Crumpy she still thinks of me as daddy. I bring her out to fly every other night, and she often likes to just come and land on my shoulder. She won't handle me putting my hand in here very well. She gets all like, oops. But if I let her out, she'll come and land on my shoulder because I'm daddy, and she's very special. Her kindness has gone on to benefit a flock of her kind that she'll never meet through her little brother that she raised. Yeah, she's a very special girl. I have cling wrap that I put on her wood perch here because, poop it soaks into wood and it's hard to get out. And I don't want to have to replace her wood perch. So I put cling wrap on there, and then when it gets dirty, I take it off and put a fresh layer on. Couldn't do that with a parrot because they chew the plastic and maybe swallow it, but it doesn't happen with a little dove with their types of beaks. The reason I have this perch is because she likes to hop up here and look at her best friends, Cookie and Biscuit. Hold on a second. Hamlet, come here. All right. So, gosh, this is one of the reasons I may have to do another video. Cookie we got in 2021, late 2021. She was just a little itty bitty baby. She was found on the ground. She was less than a week old. Finder couldn't locate her nest, and she was by herself, so my wife and I hand raised her. We didn't have any other mourning doves at the time, so we didn't have anyone who could raise her and keep her feral. So knowing that she'd never be releasable, because of that, we coddled her and let her be as tame as she wanted, as could be, because she's with us for life. She was the size of a quarter when she was a little baby, and tube feeding her was one of the biggest challenges, one of the biggest things I've had to learn in my daily care of birds. But after learning how to tube feed a baby Moto, tube feeding anything else has been really easy. And as a matter of fact, when I got Crumpet, it was very easy to feed her because I learned from Cookie. I have videos of her falling asleep in my hand at night. My wife and I were just We just babied her so much. She's our precious, precious doll. Biscuit, I think we got in 2023. She was a fledgling when we got her. She'd gotten lost, and we were going to raise her for release. But she became friends with Cookie, and they eventually became mates. And, you know, I mean, Cookie loves us, but she needed a bird friend. She was lonely. And I think they're both girls. I don't know if they're, I say mates. They both lay eggs from time to time, infertile eggs. And I'm sorry about that noise back there. That's Petrie. You guys have met Petrie. They both lay infertile eggs sometimes. I'm not sure I've ever seen them mating, but they're definitely very close. And Crumpet loves them. I put her in the same cage, except I've tried that, and these two got kind of territorial, so they like to watch each other through here, and when I let Crumpet out, I let these two out, and they like to hang out. Okay, I hope I have enough time for these last two. So, this is Ginny. You guys have seen Ginny before. Ginny we've had longer than almost any other bird here except for Hamlet and Petrie. She was found in the city we used to live in before in a park, and we think that she was used as a ceremonial release dove, maybe for a wedding, maybe for, I don't know, something, maybe a funeral. We don't know how old she was when we got her, but we got her in January of 2017, which was 8 years ago. She was already an adult by then, and I think ringneck doves in captivity can live, if they're cared for really well, 15, maybe 20 years. So she may have been a few years old when we got her, but we think that she's already over 10 by now. Some of her old videos I've shown you, her eyes are wide open because she was much younger. If you notice in this, her eyes a bit sleepy. She's slowing down a bit. She still flies okay, but it's a lot more controlled now. She flies a bit more like Crumpet, to be honest. And I think the eyes are just, you know, they started kind of doing that like back in 2022, and they've just, you know, I think it's just old lady dove. And this is her very, very paranoid feral mate, Bagel. Bagel we got in, I want to say, 2020? Like either December of 2019 or January of 2020. Bagel had a busty wing, and he was very young. Okay, I want to put a disclaimer. I say she, but we thought of Ginny as a she for a long time. We named her after a friend's cat that had recently passed at the time. But these two both became friends right away. So Bagel can fly really well and is very feral, but we didn't release him because they became besties and then they became mates. We've seen them both mate. Sometimes Bagel is on top, sometimes Ginny is on top, and none of them has ever laid an egg. So I'm pretty sure they are in a same-sex relationship. They haven't tried for eggs in a long time. They don't seem to understand that neither can lay. I think they've given up on that, but in the past, after they would mate, they would take turns sitting in like a nest up here. And you know how when a male-female pair mates, right, the female will sit and wait to lay the eggs, right? They would take turns, because I don't think they understood that neither of them can lay eggs. I think they just thought if we take turns sitting in the nest, eggs will just appear, and then eggs never appeared, so they would try again. I tried giving them fake eggs, and Ginny would sit on them, but Bagel wouldn't take turns, so Ginny ended up sitting on these fake eggs for like a whole day, and I noticed that. So when I took her off the eggs, her legs were numb, and it took about 3 hours for her to get feeling back in them. So we don't do that anymore because if I'd left them there, who knows how long she would have stayed, and that could have been bad for her. So before we got Ginny and Bagel, well, no, before we got Bagel, we'd already had Ginny since 2017. We had our first moto was a baby named Cupcake, a fledgling, who seemed to have a very bad concussion. She was our first moto, and she had a heart. Her balance, her vertigo, was throwing her off, and she had a hard time standing and a hard time walking, and she was given to me. Nobody thought she had a chance to live. They thought she was gonna die. She was the first bird that I probably really gave hardcore hands-on care to that was in bad shape. And doves are very stubborn, so she eventually regained her ability to walk, and she started flying, and she became best friends with Ginny. Flying was never perfect, but it didn't seem dangerous. But 6 months later, she actually crashed into a wall and bonked her head really bad, and it sent her symptoms spiraling back down, and she lost the ability to stand and lost the ability to walk. And then a month after bonking her head, she had a fatal stroke. And if you ever wonder why football players retire early after having a bad concussion, it's because if they take another bad hit, that's what could happen to them, and that's what happened to Cupcake. And I feel really guilty about that. Maybe I should have kept her caged forever and not let her fly. But I think that's why Ginny took to Bagel really quickly, because Bagel looks just like her friend that she missed. And yeah, so that's half my living.